cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another True Tuesday episode. Today's topic, man, I actually got from a topic we did a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about missing and reasons folks end up going missing. And in this episode, I'm actually talking about something that I had actually never heard. I've only seen in movies when folks go missing. And that's someone faking their death. You know, I'd actually never heard or seen a story where this was actually done in real life. Mm-hmm. And like I said, other than in the movies is when I would normally see or hear about something in this situation. But apparently officials in Wisconsin believe a man disappeared early this summer after faking his death from a kayaking trip. Ryan Borgwartz, a married father of two, went missing on August 12th, and his last known location was Green Lake County, Wisconsin. Have you fellas ever heard of anybody actually going missing or faking their death in this situation?
No, not somebody that's went missing. I've never heard of a situation of them faking their death.
Yeah, I have. Remember, we always in the military, so we dealt with it a lot. But yeah, we would have people that would go missing. They would be reported missing, but they were just AWOL.
Reported missing and faking your death is two different things.
He just asked about missing. He didn't ask about death.
Well, no, I'm asking, have you ever heard of anybody faking their death or faking to go missing? Because in the podcast episode we were talking about missing. You gave several examples on why people would go missing.
Well, if you speak, if you're speaking of missing, we did hear the black girl that said that she saw a toddler on the side of the road. Right. And then she, I think it was in Alabama or Arkansas somewhere.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then she faked like she was missing or whatever the case may be, but she wasn't.
She wasn't.
But
right.
Faking your death, I ain't never really heard of nobody faking their death.
Well, what I will say, the only case that I could say that I've heard about it, somebody faking their death, would actually be Tupac doing the
Illuminati That's the one album. I was going to tell you.
Yeah, and that was alleged.
That was alleged, right?
Right. Yeah, in this situation, man, this man went through. I guess he thought he was covering all grounds. Like I said, he went on a fishing trip, which was nothing out of the norm for him to do. Mm-hmm. And like I said, he what drew suspicion to him actually still being alive is he had opened up a insurance policy a couple of days before he actually went missing. So that kind of drew a red flag. And police also decided to search his laptop, which is where they found he was communicating with another female in another country, which also drew suspicion. Because you got to keep in mind how, when somebody's reported missing, the efforts and the time that's spent, searching, and the money that's also invested in searching, for the missing person, it's a waste of time. Right. So for them to find out that this guy is possibly alive, what kills me is he actually had a family, man. He had 3 kids, which they appeared to be 15 years of age or older. I just couldn't see myself, leaving my family, regardless of, if the situations were bad. I just couldn't see myself abandoning my family, you know, for another female.
Well, the kids, if nothing else.
Exactly, the kids. I'm not gonna say I can see myself leaving my wife, but the kids is the main thing,
Right.
And that's the hard part for me to understand how and why he would even, you know, stoop to these measures to leave his family. But again, you know, when I first heard the story, I was wondering how he was able to move around, you know, if he was allegedly missing. But they said that he had changed his passport, which that made sense once I found out, you know, he had changed his passport, so that made traveling a lot easier for him. But that also was a reason how they were able to determine or believe that he's still alive, because Canadian officials had somehow ran his passport or something that they do in regard. I guess when you travel over the country, they run your passport, and it I guess the FBI officials got a ding on it where it showed that this man, you know, was using another name.
So he got he that passport is actually a paper trail.
Exactly.
You know, when, like you say, you go to another country, they have to check your passport, and I'm pretty sure they do a criminal history or criminal check on you after that passport is presented.
Yeah.
I'm
more
I
likely
guess
for that
you know,
for that country, because if you have some warrants, they ain't letting you go.
Right.
You know.
So I'm sure they had to run some kind of check, but he tried to cover his tracks, but not successful enough.
Yeah, he went missing on August 12th, and his passport got a hit on August 13th, which was the day after he allegedly had disappeared. So that's what drew, you know, more red flags to where they wanted to investigate more. Now, with this, he allegedly is in a country called Uzbekistan. I'm not sure where the hell that is. It's in Europe somewhere.
Somewhere in Europe, yeah.
And he also took out, like I said earlier, a $375,000 life insurance policy.
Wow.
So all these things look suspect, you know, when he allegedly went kayaking. And, you know, the police, they found the kayak that he allegedly was in. Not allegedly. They found the kayak that he was in, his driver's license, a lot of his personal information, which, you know, he tried to fake it and make it look legitimate. And he had folks believing him until, like I said, the passport took that hit.
Now, you know what? My question, this raises a question. How do you do the life insurance policy? You said $375,000, right?
Right.
And you go and you fake your death. Whose name is on that insurance policy as the person to recoup this money?
Well, it doesn't mention whose name is on it.
Look at it this way. That's a good question, but look at it this way. If you do a life insurance policy, let's say in real life, let's say you didn't fake your death or none of that. If you do a life insurance policy and you die, your name ain't on that motherfucker to collect the money.
No, it's somebody else.
So there's a beneficiary, right?
Who was that?
Now, I would think that if you took out this life insurance policy, I would think that it was his wife and his wife is on it because he may feel some sort of guilt that I'm faking my death. At least let me leave her with some bread.
I would hope.
And let me go on over here to what you call it, Yukistan or whatever that stand is.
Yeah.
Pakistan? I don't know.
And so you going over there to be with another woman.
But you left her $300.
But you left her some money. You done faked her death
Yeah.
to try to ease the pain because she thinks I'm dead. I didn't have enough heart to tell her that I want to leave or that I want a divorce.
Yeah.
And so to ease my mind on the guilt, let me just leave her this bread.
Now, I understand that.
That part didn't even make sense to me until just now after us discussing it. The $375,000 I'm thinking was for him, but he actually took this out to comfort his family.
And see,
So
K-Money, I thought that was my thinking from the beginning. Not that he left it for his family. My thought was for him because here's the thing. You going to another country. You don't have no job out there.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Look at it this way. You don't know how much money he have saved. You don't know what kind of bread he got in his account. You don't know that. But what you do know is he got enough money to take out a life insurance policy for that amount of money.
So my question then too would be, how long was he married to this wife? and why they didn't have insurance policies already.
Well,
They probably did.
They probably
did.
but you can increase.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You can can
Yeah.
increase even if you have insurance.
Yeah.
Then how long they've been married? Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. If you had teenage son,
They 10
let's
years
give,
at least.
Let's give you a benefit of the doubt that you've been with this woman since your son was born or your children
At
were
least
born.
10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that he just didn't have enough guts
To
to
tell
tell her that I want a divorce. I
Yeah.
found somebody overseas I want to get with.
Man, you know,
and let me
That is crazy.
That's
comfort myself.
that is a coward way
That is.
to deal with that issue, especially if you're going away to another country with another woman, because now she gonna expect something out of you.
Well, I can say this. At least he didn't leave her ass out. At least he had the mind to say,
no,
hey, you know what?
He did leave her ass out because here, if they find out that he's still alive, that life insurance policy's dead.
That's what I was about to say. So now, say if it's 6 months and she didn't already spent the $375 or even half of the $375, what happens? Does she have to pay that back?
Now it's gonna be on him.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, I
that's
would
on
think
him.
it's on him.
It's gonna be on him.
Yeah, that's
Now,
gonna be
what
on him.
charges he could be filed or charged with in this situation, I'm not sure, but it has to be something.
Impersonating a corpse.
It has to be something that this man has to be charged with. Though I mean,
Right.
And even if he is aware that the police or the officials are on to him, he has to wonder now, what his wife and family could be thinking in this situation.
They actually, I did see that. That, by the way, K Money, and actually, they actually forgive him. They miss him. They want to see him.
I would imagine that they miss him and want him to come home, but
The wife gonna have some questions.
what?
Well,
lot of
it
questions.
ain't no question there. Look, 1 + 1 = 2. Check it out. You ain't gotta ask no questions to know if a motherfucker leave you for another woman. He didn't want to be with you. There ain't no question to ask.
So
He don't want to be with you.
So what happens if they find out he's alive? He's still not gonna be with her because they're gonna lock him up.
Yeah.
Well, he would have to be extradited back here in order for him
So
to.
he is in another country.
Yeah.
He's allegedly
gone.
he's in
He
another
allegedly
country.
he's
So
gone.
they're gonna send him back,
That,
and he gonna be
that's
sitting in
if
prison.
that's if they
Have
you got to
extradi-
find out if they have an extradition
if
treaty
in that country.
extradition law. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe he went somewhere because I never heard of this country.
Yeah, Uzbekistan.
I've heard of all the stands.
It's in Europe.
It sounds like
Pakistan?
something you catch on your feet.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man. I got Uzbekistan in the middle, in between my toes. I got some, and they gave me that Uzbekistan.
Now this female that he was communicating with, he met online. So
You better hope he wasn't catfished.
You know.
that'd be another story right there. If he
You ain't
was,
lying.
So K Money, let me ask you this question.
Yes, sir.
Are they black or white?
he's Caucasian.
Okay.
Now
A lighter hue.
Starting to make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you notice, all the movies, people be dying in the boats. See, just go fishing, baby. White girls just stop going fishing because they know they ain't coming back.
Somebody gonna die.
Now, like I was saying early on in the podcast, fellas, I've only seen situations like this in the movies, like sleeping with the enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
And she was escaping abuse. This guy seems to have, a normal life
Yeah.
and chose to vanish just because of, it reminds me of another topic we talked about, the power of the pussy.
Right.
It seems he left on the strength of just wanting to be with another female that I guess he was having a better life with.
Maybe it was easier to do that because some people live a double life.
But I don't think he did death. So
well,
he was trying to make it a single life.
Thing is, my thing, and then it brings a lot of questions to me because I'm like, okay, how did you meet this person way overseas? How did you fall
Like
so
I say,
so far in
online.
love?
That online.
Online.
So he online and fell in love online.
Fell in love with the female from chatting with her online. I don't think they had ever,
So he never tapped and in love with the word.
But
it doesn't go into those details if he had ever done that or not. But
Yeah.
I mentioned, he left on the strength of power of the pussy,
And
assuming he had.
those types of situations turn into tragedies also.
Yes.
You got to imagine, man, this man going to another country and having to adjust. And if things went south in that relationship, then what you go do? Because
You don't know
now.
who like her out there, who chasing her, and who upset with the fact that you down here from another country. This man been chasing this woman.
Yep.
See, it's just too much, man.
And like Freddie G said, what if in the event this man was being catfished, or
Right.
what she told you online is not what it actually is when you get there, and like I say, things are not what you expected when you get there, then you really fucked, because you damn sure can't come back to the
You
States.
can't come back. Now,
Yeah.
if your wife is okay with you, like you say, they miss him and whatnot, how do you go home and face that? And I mean, you already don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So it kind of the best thing is for him to be extradited, and then just
Yeah.
and
in
deal
prison.
with it,
Yeah.
with whatever.
Yeah,
Well, you still got that insurance policy that they're definitely going to consider and look at.
man, that's gonna be his jail time.
Yeah. You know what? I bet she like, man, take me to jail because I don't want to see my wife.
You know that's stealing $375,000.
I know. He probably take me
He'll
to jail.
never see his wife again
You
after that.
remember back in the day, your mama said, I'm going to take you home and take you home and your mama get a whooping,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you'd rather say, no, take me to jail. Look at that. I don't want no whooping.
Yeah.
Right. This is one of them situations. I don't want to go home to my wife. Don't take me to jail.
Yeah, he really-
Because that's too much explaining. Because you got to explain
he
to your
screwed
wife
up, man.
and your kids. You got to
screwed
explain.
up. man.
Either way it go, if this man brought his ass back to the United States, he's gonna have a lot of questions to answer from officials, his family.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not just his wife and kids that he left. Because I'm sure he has
Now
more.
he got probably brothers and
Exactly.
sisters.
You know, he
and
has more
cousins,
immediate family.
Yeah.
grandmothers. They gonna ask.
He
what
gonna
are you
have some
doing?
explaining to do.
It's definitely a selfish act. I just can't see the reasoning behind why someone would actually stoop to these measures.
Especially by it being online.
You know what, K Money? You know why you can't see why somebody would stoop to those measures? Because your thought process isn't that way. Mm-hmm. You don't think like that.
Well, that's facts.
So let's take it on a small scale. Sometimes you may look at an individual, and let's say an individual that goes and sexually assault a female.
I know where you're going.
And you say to yourself, well, all of these women out here, why would you even do that? I can't see doing that.
Yeah.
That's because your mind don't think that way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you can't see it.
It's just, like I say, with him having a family, though, you know, I put myself in this situation, and regardless of how bad things may get,
You ain't
I
lying.
just can't see myself, you know. And like you
Walking
said,
out
I'm not
like that.
thinking mental. I'm thinking like a family man, though.
Yeah,
which I
maybe-
would assume he should have been thinking that, like, you know what I'm saying?
So check this out. Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm just throwing this. I still
Yeah.
want to throw. So, do y'all recall? And I don't want to compare apples to oranges or whatever, but do y'all recall here in Houston there was this? And I did a show on a Wednesday. I think the show was called "Fuck Them Kids."
Yeah. I remember.
And it was a black female that was messing with this white guy, and the white guy was beating the children. She had like 3 children, and one of those children, one of those kids, he killed.
Right.
And the other kids was staying in this apartment with them, with that child. They had abandoned the apartment,
Right,
and left
and
the kids
left
there,
them in there
for months
with the dead
With
body
the
in
dead
there.
body, yeah.
Right.
So we would ask, which by the way, that lady just got 50 years.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
he
They
got a
just
life
sent-
sentence.
yeah,
they
they
just
sentenced
sentenced her.
Wow.
But one would ask, why would a mother allow somebody to do their child like that?
Right.
And we just can't see it. It just doesn't make sense. That's because we're not wired that way.
I
We're
agree.
just not wired that
Yeah,
way.
it don't resonate with me, you know, to want a lot of stuff that's being done now. I think it's the mentality of people now. It's a careless mentality,
Selfish mentality.
right, and selfish also. But I mean, this man walked away from his whole family to be with somebody he met online.
That's the part, and that's the part that's confusing me because I'm like you, K Money, I'm a family man. Like I can kind of, sort of, a little bit see the girl only, but not your family, not your kids.
Okay, so let me paint a picture. Just to throw a monkey wrench in everything. So what if he was being abused at home? A man. So there's some women that abuse men. What if he's being abused at home? What if going through a divorce, he would lose more material things, going through a divorce.
Yeah, because overseas that
And
375.
so what if that was the case? That hey, he got bread, and if I just go and tell her I want a divorce, I'm gonna lose everything.
Well, he already gave her the house.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is I could stand to lose even more
If I
go through a divorce.
Well, theoretically, he's lost everything if he's starting over.
Well, here's the thing.
Whatever's in his bank account.
Whatever's in his bank
Yeah.
account. Because I find it hard to believe for somebody to plan a death, they wouldn't be prepared. When you're planning a death, part of the plan is to make sure
You have your
I'm
finances
going to be able to
straight.
get away with this clean.
Right.
Make sure I got things straight.
Right.
And then if this female was in this country, hey, let me make sure I ain't got no extradition coming. Part of planning a death, you would have to think of all of those things.
Right.
So
And
I would think that that was something he thought about.
I would hope so.
And I would think that he got some money somewhere. He has some
probably
money.
have some offshore accounts, right? Not in where he was.
Well-
his city here, and he probably had offshore accounts. Now that I'm thinking about it, he was in the U.S. He went overseas. Overseas don't know he passed away. They don't know anything. Only people that know in the U.S. that think he passed away is, because we're gonna have a death certificate and all that, right? But
It does say he moved funds to a foreign bank account.
yeah,
there
there
it
it is.
So I mean, he
Yeah.
he did some planning. I mean, because he also tried to wipe his hard drive.
See?
He was trying to hide the conversations.
Now, he moved some funds to a foreign bank account. That was some millions, man. Or maybe a million or two.
Enough to get by for a minute, huh?
If you in one of those types of countries, man,
It could last. It could last a little.
man, you the man.
Yeah, it could last a minute.
I don't think he's going to be too successful. And I think that, they already know about it. I think they'll catch him. You know what I mean? And whatever the consequences are, he's just going to have to face them.
You guys think? Because I'm sure he's trying to stay in tune with what's going on here in America, and I'm sure somehow, some way, this story may cross his eyes. Do you think he would reach out to his family, try to reach out to him on the DL to explain, or?
I would be embarrassed. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You know, that would probably get him in more trouble. If he did, I think he should just let sleeping dogs lay.
I mean, you got to have a conscience, though, Slash. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And
yeah.
if he has any type of conscience,
Now, and he probably does, but just think about the consequences of him contacting.
and he's already
His
proven
family.
that he's a coward. So yeah, I can see where you're coming from with us.
He's not gonna do it because he was afraid to say anything. He already trying to fake his death just to get away from your family, man.
Yeah.
And you got money. It's a
Yeah,
coward.
apparently you got money if you've able to move money, to a foreign bank account. I'm sure you ain't moved just like no $10 or $100. You know what I'm
you
saying?
moved some money.
It was some big money that
Yeah.
you moved to make sure, like Freddie G said, that you were able to make it
Yeah.
and maintain.
And see, that makes sense with the $375,000 going to the wife. That makes sense now, So yeah, the life insurance policy was a plea of guilt to give to his wife.
Yeah.
Because he had to move all the money to another account, where his wife couldn't get none of the money out of there because it's moved.
I wonder if she even noticed. If she's one of those wives that keep track of those type of things, she should have noticed it or seen the writing on the wall.
If she's the one who takes care of the bills and uses the account, she should have noticed something. Unless he waited until she paid the bills that day and say, "Oh, it's time to move them now."
Just a reminder, this was a Caucasian family, so I doubt if they were living paycheck to paycheck.
No, they
to
had
where-
some money. Yeah, if he moved some money, he moved some money. He had some money. Yeah, that ain't.
Not saying Caucasians don't live paycheck to paycheck, but
There's no point for me to move no money. That I ain't got. What I'ma move?
Yeah.
Move last week's check to what?
I don't know, man. But like I said, man, I really can't understand why a person would stoop to these levels. When life starts life, man, we just got to adjust and just make the adjustments as best we can and keep on moving. I appreciate y'all joining us, man. Come back next week for another episode. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Scott faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.